Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 36 of Joe and Matty Talk New York Sports.
We're
It's
back, Matty. We're back.
a little 2 month hiatus. We had vacations. I was up in New York for Game 3 of the Rangers Kane series, which was awesome. Hopefully, getting my way up for a parade anytime soon. But
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Still got a long way to go.
but
But
yeah,
yeah, we
a
missed
lot's
a
gone
lot.
on. I
Um,
think it's been since April, so now I know now the Yankees much different spot. A lot of things have gone on. They're in a much better spot, I think, from the last time since we spoke. I think the last time was about Easter after they lost a series to the Orioles in Baltimore. So much better situation.
yeah,
39 and
couldn't
15.
get better in the baseball situation. You've got
Absolutely. And
you've
I
got
have
Severino back.
yeah.
I like looks like the old form, which is unbelievable. Tyone pitching unbelievable. Cole much better than those early weeks. And then the
Nestor
guy.
Cortez is
I
it's
mean,
really Montgomery, and he's not even pitching that bad too. It's
They
like
just won't hit for him. I mean, this is the best I remember Yankee pitching in a really long time.
yeah.
It might be
Well,
the best
it's
stretch of Yankee pitching you've ever seen.
yeah, I mean and what's funny is I'll also say this right off the bat: I have no time for those Yankees fans who are gonna try to find things to complain about right
Well,
now.
there's always those people who try to poke holes
And
in things.
it's yes, they're like the Yankees have an I would say an issue, and that's Gallo and Hicks, but that's very fixable. It's not like I was listening to Buster
Ah,
Only. He was saying like it's not like they need to go out and find a number one guy. Like it's Joey Gallo and them, and they could just fix that with like guys like Benintendi or anything. You could
Carpenter.
get exactly. So like it's and obviously the questions with the Judge contract that's gonna be a problem. I know it. Just wait. Let's
I
wait on that until the off season.
but I don't
I'm
even
right now
know if they're going to
focusing on
wait for
winning a
the
World
off season.
Series.
Like I feel they have the arbitration hearing coming up for
Yeah.
Judge. I think the Yankees would be smart to walk into that arbitration hearing and say we made a mistake, and here's 35 million a year. You've earned it, and let's sign the deal and let's going on. I mean, if that doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. He's delivering in the clutch, so I'm not
Absolutely. Yeah.
tremendously worried about it anymore. My biggest worry going into this was the fact that maybe the pressure would get to him. Who knows? It also may go the other way. You
Yeah.
might get a horrific injury, and then
Yeah.
there is
Well,
no.
I think I would take a ring this year and no more Aaron Judge in the Yankees. If we don't win a ring this year, I want him back. But if he gets that ring, we get a ring, we can shut up. That's fine. And then maybe we get Soto in the mix. But
Well,
the
remember,
important thing is that without Judge this year, the Yankees are not as good a team. They're still a playoff team. But believe it or not, they can really still be a good team without him. It's just it will be harder because it's going to be more on Giancarlo Stanton and like your bigger guys really have to come through. Torres has to turn into a star. I mean,
I mean, let's face it. There's nothing. Everything's
basically
going.
that. But right now, why complain? They look really good.
No,
I think they're the best team in the league I think by far because they don't have okay. The Dodgers have Freeman. They bought all these guys. They're still good, but it's not everything's working. And yeah, they had a
yeah.
little
For the Yankees,
fluke.
the number one concern is are they going to be healthy? Is the pitching going to hold up? Because you've got a
Yeah,
lot of guys who have a proven track record of injuries in Tyone, Severino, Cole. Is he still going to be? Is he going to be a big game pitcher? Like we've seen him do great in
yeah.
the regular season, but is he going to walk into the playoffs and do a great job? I don't know.
Well, they're not burning him out early. They're not relying on him for good starts because of how good the staff's been, and their bullpen's been good. But like a lot, even though they faced a ton of adversity in the bullpen, Chapman hasn't been good. Loizaga hasn't been good. Both of them
Dream's
have
done for the
battled
season.
injuries. Exactly, but Clay Holmes has been there to save it. But as with the injury problems, yeah, they're still there, and Stanton had a little stint there. But you know what? I liked how fast he bounced back, and now he's back in the lineup. It wasn't like some injury that was like 10 days, then dragged
The
along.
lingering
Yeah,
in.
like he seemed like back and ready, and that's good to hear. But we're already a third into the season, and it looks really good.
But do you
And
think Cortez could keep this going? I mean,
he
he's
did
not
last year.
overpowering guys. He's fooling them. That makes
But
me
that's the
nervous
new
when
style of baseball, though, I think, in the future, because now everyone's equipped to hitting 100, and pitchers are trying to be like
True.
speed, movement on fastball, which is not always like that's good. Like you look at Cole, unbelievable stuff when his fastball can move at 100 miles
Yeah.
per hour. That's great. But
I
like
wish you would have watched
Nestor
El
Cortez
Duque.
is not Nestor Cortez is not the only pitcher in the league that's doing this, like
Yeah.
with being slower speed finesse. So we'll
God,
see
bring
if they
back El
keep it
Duque.
up.
I really wish you could have seen him just big game performance. El Duque
I
just was so clutch, and he would throw. You'd have no idea what's coming. Sidearm, fastball, drop a curveball in there over the top. It
I
was
thought you said
unbelievable.
I thought you said Ron Duguay. I was like, did he play for the Rangers?
Ron, yeah, he did. your
That's
your friend Kerry Robinson was a big Ron Duguay fan. He had the
the
flowing
big
locks.
afro, no
Yeah.
helmet.
It was ridiculous. Yeah, he was not my guy back then. I wasn't a huge Duguay fan. I was more a Booga Boom, Samuelson,
Yeah.
Messier's the guy. But let's roll right into the Rangers. None of us, when we last left off the podcast, saw this coming. I think it's a culmination, especially if you go back to the Pittsburgh series when Shesterkin, laid an egg and got pulled in 2 games. Certainly the
Yeah.
paranoia for every Ranger fan was there. They come back down 3-1. They come back down 2-0. They're up 2-1 on Tampa. Everyone would have signed up for this position in the beginning of the year. There is that anxiety tonight. I hear Strome is playing. The rumors, if you believe social media rumors, Goodrow won't be playing.
No, I've heard the other way around. I've heard
Yeah.
Gaudreau's definitely. I've heard Gaudreau's like it's a really good chance he plays.
Are they just
But
gluing his foot back
Strome
on?
was at the optional skate and was out there for like 2 minutes and then went into the locker room and
But
didn't
Goodrow
come
didn't
back.
even skate.
Yeah, but it was an optional skate. He's fine unless he's like
He's
broke
got a
something.
broken foot or broken
No, he
ankle.
came back. He played the rest of the game on
I
like
know, but once you take the skate off, when you have something like that, it swells up and you can't get it under control. That's really the fear. Like, don't take the skate off. So, either way, you assume Rooney would be one of the replacements for that. Maybe Kopp goes to center. Rooney drops to the 4th line. I don't know exactly what it is. It's all going to come down to, does the kid line keep dominating, and can they stay out of the damn penalty box?
Yeah.
I always make fun of you for complaining about the rest, but that one Trouba call, he didn't even physically touch him, and that turned the whole game.
There was a hold for about like a second, and like it wasn't really like it didn't change the play.
No, it did nothing. But
I think if we're going
the
back
game so much
to where we last spoke, it was somewhere around that period of time when the Rangers had 3 straight shutouts in April against the Flyers, Red Wings, and Jets.
Stink.
Yeah, so they finished off the season. That was kind of like fluky end. No one really cares. It was kind of weird going to the playoffs. I was really confident in the Pittsburgh series, but like everyone could tell the goal was, all right, beat Pittsburgh because you're a better team, even though you don't have the experience. That you're the better team.
Well, let me ask you
And
something.
somehow,
I was confident going into that series as well. And then when I saw Crosby look like Crosby, I was very nervous because Pittsburgh was playing better. Then he gets knocked out and things kind of got reshuffled.
Yeah.
I feel like that hit on Crosby saved their season. Not that I don't think it was a dirty hit, and you don't root. Well, actually, sometimes I root for guys to be hurt, which is inappropriate.
Yeah.
But it's the truth.
Of course you do.
I'm being honest here. But that was a huge moment in that.
And I was sitting there after Game 4, about to write a script for the podcast about how disappointed. That was going through my mind when I was in Columbia, South Carolina, in a hotel that night, thinking in my mind like everything I would complain about in that podcast. What a great season, thrown out the window in the first round of the playoffs. No competitive, like no compete. And before I was even like, I don't know, it all came so fast. They won Game 5. It was like it's weird how when you win one game when you're down 3-1, how all of a sudden it feels like the series changes so much.
Well, that's
like
the momentum. Aren't we sitting there scared of that right now tonight? That if Tampa comes out, beats the Rangers 4-1 or something like that, Rangers are on their heels. All of a sudden, you're like, oh no, now they're the champion. They have the momentum.
Yeah.
I mean, Stamkos.
Well,
I'm
if
sure
we
someone's saying
review,
about Zibanejad on the other side, but those Stamkos goals are just like laser beams to the top of the net.
yeah. Well, we'll get to that series. I've got a lot of good points, but I'm going to run through everything. So they had the 3 overtime loss in game 1 against Pittsburgh 4-3, which was
Heartbreaking.
so disappointing because of how good
They
I would
outplayed
say
them
the
whole
first
game.
23 minutes of the game were for the Rangers. They're up 2-0. I was like thinking, wow, this could be fast.
Yeah.
Boy, was I wrong. And then it just kind of opened up. Then 3-0, it felt like a blur. That feels like months ago, that
It
game.
does feel these.
And
We're not even playing, and I'm exhausted from these games between like staying up and then having to go to work. Oh my lord!
yeah. And then just they respond in game 2, 5-2, which was very nerve-wracking because we knew they had to win that game. Just to go into Pittsburgh, lose 7-4 and 7-2. And that 7-4 was
to
a
get
bad one.
getting your goalie pulled, who was the guy who got you as far, like that's the brutal part of it. It's like, oh my no, is he not going to be the guy we thought?
But you know what? In like to me, game 4, you know what? We knew it was just a terrible night. Game 3 was really my problem. They came all the way back. I felt like they were going to win it. And it's just like, I know I don't want to blame Georgiev. He came in cold. It's all right because it's like they won the series anyways. But that 5-hole goal, and then things got away when it seemed like they were about to pull off a miraculous comeback, being down 4-1 in road territory. And then they come home, they go down 2-0, and I dropped the keys and went upstairs, started playing video games. And they
you
scored,
can't not watch the game. That's crazy.
and they scored 3 goals. Well, 4 goals were scored in the matter of 10 minutes when I was upstairs to find myself realizing the Rangers were tied 3-3 going into the third period. So of course I came down and watched. And
I can't. I'm embarrassed that you walked away from this.
I was so done. I was like, I wanted to
never walk
something.
away. You never want to miss the comeback when it happens. It hurts to watch, but you got to hang with it. Never turn that TV.
Well, that's what I never gave up from then on out, and that was kind of like the moment I was like, all right, they gave us something. Win 5-3 was for some reason it felt. What I'm saying with like how it changed the series is 3-1 seems like a monumental comeback. Like being down 3-1 seems like,
it happens to us.
It seems like a huge mountain to climb. It's like basically like you want to be like our season's done because that's what the feeling.
Yeah,
was
that's the feeling.
But then all of a sudden a game 5 win, and then you're like, wait, it's only 2 games. Like it feels like a weird transition. All of a sudden you're like, we need to win 3 straight. This seems impossible. So now it's like, well, we just need to pull 1 on the road, and then we're in a good scenario. And that's exactly
what
they did.
And then the pressure is all on the other team that's blowing the lead.
Absolutely, and they win 5-3 on the road. We deserved a fluke goal after being game 1 was handed to the Penguins after an awful call by the refs. Multiple Hall of Famers said that it was the wrong call. So we deserved a fluke goal, and we deserved game 6. Although if that thing went to overtime, I was definitely seeing Pittsburgh handing out handshakes that night because we were getting dominated at that point of the goal, and it was lucky. And then game 7, I mean, was just amazing. That was an awesome game. More fluke goals by the Penguins, which was hilarious. I mean,
I don't know about hilarious.
Well, it's just like I know. Yeah, some of them are goals. Like the amount of reviews. Let me try to think just for a second. Game 1, Pittsburgh was handed that call. Sometimes they weren't, but I'm just going to go over all the reviews. Game 1, they were handed that call for the review, and these are just reviews, not bad penalties. Trust me, they're terrible penalties.
Way too many reviews.
Yeah, game 1, a review on the Heedle goal should have been called. Game 3.
Was that the offsides?
No, that was when the Kakko ran into the goalie, tried to dodge, tapped it in. Game 3, Brock McGinn scores a minute 57 seconds in, and that was on that weird, terrible play by Nemeth. Post comes off. That was the right call. I hated it at the time. That I look back, that is the right call. And then game 4, you have a power play goal by Crosby reviewed in Pittsburgh, given to Pittsburgh. So now all 3 calls have gone Pittsburgh's way.
Yeah. Well,
game 5, I can't remember game 5.
Screw the Ranger button.
Exactly. Game 5 and 6, I don't remember anything. 7, clearly a high stick. Everyone knew it. I mean, like there's pictures on Twitter. There's pictures on Google of the puck here and the crossbar here. but we won the series anyway. So that was 4. I don't want to hear guys like Paul Bissonnette and Pittsburgh Penguins fans complaining. 4 reviews that series, every single one of them went Pittsburgh's way, and I think 2 were the right call and 2 were terrible calls.
I don't disagree with it. I know we look through it with different eyes. Certainly, one of them was a terrible call.
But I fully accept though that 2 of those calls, yes, those are Pittsburgh goals. They're weird, but they're. Oh wait, and I forgot another one in Game 7. That goal that trickled across the line, which was the right call. So 5 reviews, 5 goal reviews in that series all went Pittsburgh's way, which we won anyways, and it was a great win and very shocking. It's not that I was shocked they couldn't do it. I was just in awe, like everything that had happened in the last week. Yeah. And it came down to us facing Carolina, which was also my worst nightmare in the back of my mind.
There's no doubt that series was the most stressful for you, even no matter what happens with the rest of the season, having to live in Raleigh and deal with those fans.
Yeah, and I came back from work. The only game that was interrupted by work that I didn't get to watch a period of unless I ran away like in Game 5. But Game 1, I missed the first period, saw Philip Hedl had scored, and it was looking good. So under 3 minutes, Aho ties the game, and then it's just like bang, bang, and then in overtime. And that was, to me, at the moment when Kakko missed that empty net and they tied the game, I was like, this was the game. This is the game that could cost your season because you really, really could have stole one.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It was on the doorstep. It was given to him, and he missed. We could use a big game out of him to just get his confidence in check. It's like the other 2 guys don't seem lacking for confidence at all, especially Hedl. But
and so then Game 2, 2-0 Canes, fluky game as well. Carolina's one goal that wasn't an empty netter was a shorthanded breakaway, which we saw too often in that series. And that was a weird game, but that really was another point in the playoffs where I was like, I'm very excited about to go to a game, but like I don't know if they can do this because like it's you just got beat like that, and I think they can win at home. Like I was in the air, and that kind of changed. I gained confidence when we went to the game, which was an awesome game. Even though the Rangers got outshot by galore, 44 shots.
Thank you, Jason Potts, for some killer tickets to that game.
Oh, it was unforgettable, and it was very loud. It was incredible. It was definitely louder in PNC Arena. I've been to both arenas for the playoffs this year. It was louder, trust me. That was a big win, and then Game 4 felt really good. At a 4-1 victory, that felt like finally we dominated them because Game 3 was fun and awesome.
Yeah, they weren't in control. No,
they did not dominate the Canes, even though it was 3-1. And frankly, should have been a shutout, but whatever. But the 4-1 win felt good, and that's where I changed confidence. I was like, they can go into Carolina. I think I was like, there's no reason they can't play that great defensive style and then open up the offense with Ronta, who's a good goalie. He's a good backup, and it's the playoffs. Yeah. But Game 5 was, I think, compared to Game 2, I think Game 5 was the worst game to watch that series that the Rangers played. It was rough. When I was thinking with the Strome goal, we're about to see a shutdown in Game 6 and we're going to win it all. And just like that's thrown out the window, 3-1 terrible loss. And at that point, that's where I could start seeing the headlines of Carolina finally wins on the road. Yeah. The Rangers season's over. What a great run, all that. And that's what I was expecting. I was still all dressed up my jersey, ready for the game. And I was expecting a jump from the Canes. You just never got it. 2 awful goals by Ronta. Rangers win 5-2. And that was big. That was their first big goal scoring show of the whole series. Panarin finally scored. Everything was clicking. And I was so excited after the game. Like, I don't know what you thought about it. I still felt like they could win Game 7. I didn't think like it was impossible.
You should know me by now. I always think my team's going to win. I always think they have a shot.
I don't think
even when they're huge underdogs. Like they've been underdogs almost every game. If you talk Vegas,
I think Game 1, you look at Rangers. I mean, the Rangers as of right now are not the underdog for Game 5, but that could change based on the results of tonight if Tampa wins. Yeah. But not only they go into Carolina, they destroy them, which was just Another thing you're not
Which is a
expecting. You
nice
weren't
game
expecting.
7, like to enjoy.
You were expecting a 3-2 win. You were expecting a gritty, like overtime winner, make you like blood, sweat, and
gonna be
tears,
there
biting
all
your
night,
nails. Like,
stressed out.
I mean, I'll admit this as a fan. I was very happy at 2-0. Boy, did I never think the game was over at 2-0.
No way.
Strome scoring late in the second was kind of the dagger, but I still didn't take it that way. I was sitting there, and this whole playoffs, they've been running those stats of comebacks, come back from 4-0, come back from 3-1, 3-0 deficit in the third. Colorado did the other day.
The deadly. Wow,
I was like, there's no way. And when Kreider scored, that's when I was like, all right, we're winning this game. Igor's not giving up 4 goals until they score on the power play, and that was 8-11.
Then the fear creeps back in.
And I'm like, here comes and the Canes were dominating for the shift after. So I was like, oh my God, here we go. They're going to score 2 goals, and all of a sudden it's a 1-goal game. And then the Rangers scoring a turnover, and that's when I recalibrated. And then Carolina scores, and I was a little antsy, but I was like, nah, I don't think they're scoring 3 goals in 3 minutes. And they put it into the empty net, and they win it. It was awesome. That was one of the best moments of ever watching sports for me, watching that handshake line go through. Incredible. And
except when they cut away and don't.
They cut away from the two biggest interactions, Georgiev and D'Angelo, and Gallant and D'Angelo, and they cut out right there.
It's weak.
Just so they can show. I do not feel bad for the Carolina Hurricanes. I do feel bad for Rod Brind'Amour because
I don't.
I don't care about the Canes fans at all.
Yeah,
I don't feel bad for them at all. But I do know, and this is what brought me so much pleasure, is I do know that feeling, that's why I'm a fan. I will never disrespect another fan, after my team wins, because I know that feeling, and it hurts, and you work so hard, and that's what I've been dodging this whole playoffs, just to think, once that feeling comes, if it does, hopefully it doesn't, that it's like we got it, like next year, a whole nother season. Think how long that takes just to get back to the playoffs. Not even in that moment, and it's just like
the playoffs seem like a season in themselves.
It's terrifying. And then we sit on that for a day, and then in comes Tampa, and it's right back to square one. And then they dominate them in game 1, which felt good for the time being. But then again, you
didn't seem real for some reason. You're like, they're rusty.
It was.
They're rusty. It's not the real team. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, and then in game 2, that's where I felt really good. And then game 3 is rough, and I guess we'll stop here, break it down. But I think tonight is a big game, and I think tonight is a must-win on both sides. Literally for Tampa, not for the Rangers.
Whoever wins tonight, I think, is going to win the series.
I agree with that. And look, if the Rangers win tonight, I don't see them. They could lose game 5, but I don't see them.
2 shots at home, as long as there's not serious.
That's going to be hard for Tampa, because I think the Rangers,
especially without injuries. Like, I mean, if the Rangers keep dropping guys, it's going to be a problem. Now, Point's still not playing for Tampa, so
as early as game 5 is what I'm hearing. If I've heard so many different things, we know he's not in tonight. I've heard out for the playoffs. I've heard.
I think he's out for I think he's out for the playoffs, and they're just kind of, doing what hockey players do. Oh, he may come back. He may come back. Meanwhile, he's never come back. It's like the guy from Colorado, who they're like, oh, it's a head injury. He's just going to miss this series, then he'll be back. Turns out that he's walking out with a cast and having surgery on his thumb. It's like, hey,
and
it's like
my thing
the worst at giving you injury information.
Yeah, and my thing is, the Rangers could go home game 5, obviously win that game, and all of a sudden we're feeling great.
Yeah.
But my thing is,
you need to keep that momentum.
If you get it 2-2, this is where Vasilevsky comes in with locking games down. That's where you need to get them down early, because you can't, at no point from now on can you trail in this series, because Tampa will lock you down like any other team, better than any other team has. And I think the Rangers can win tonight. I think Tampa the least hard place to play in that they've played in the playoffs so far. I think Carolina was hard as Pittsburgh then, and then Tampa. You've got a lot of Rangers fans there.
Yeah, there is a ton of Rangers fans. They were actually just talking on the fan how you could fly down to Tampa from New York for $179, get a hotel, and then get tickets to the game, and it's cheaper than
one ticket to Madison Square Garden. But I think multiple things here. One, I think Tampa has some momentum from Game 3, and it stung. But my thing is, look, we're up 2-1 in the series. If you said the series would be tied 2-2 after going into 5, we would be happy.
Yeah.
Exactly. We would take being up 2-1 now. But Tampa put 52 shots on net, and we had 18 block shots in Game 3. Yet it took them all the way to the last minute of the third period to beat the Rangers, and the Rangers didn't play well.
I feel like a lot of the shots are on the wings. Rangers got to stay out of the penalty box because that causes the momentum shifts.
And this is where Trouba, I'm tired of this. For the money he's getting paid, it should not be we are happy one game and mad the other.
Without Trouba, they're not in this series. There's no way without Trouba that the Rangers
because he took 2 penalties that led to power play goals. There you go, right there.
I know, but one I also feel like they're targeting him for penalties. The one was not a penalty. The one he had to take, the guy had a breakaway, so he took him down.
But I trust Igor with the long shot, and there was another player coming in behind. So like that one, true. Maybe it's a must take, but that one's a little touchy. But my thing is Tampa. People think, oh, they have momentum. But also maybe they have the mindset, we threw everything we had, and we only won in the last minute of the game in Game 3. And the Rangers didn't play well.
We don't know. The Rangers
because trust me, they will come back. They will play better than they did last game. We know that. They've done it all season and all through the playoffs. Except for Game 4 against Pittsburgh, they will come back and play a better game. And they got to make it tougher on Vasilevsky. They need longer zone time, and they cannot only be scoring on the power play. You'll get your opportunities.
You got to get a 5-on-5 goal. Ideally, that's the first goal you get, too.
And frankly, for only having 29 shots, Vasilevsky made 1 or 2 great saves. He
made a bunch
out of the world.
Yeah.
Well, and so they had their chances, too, and they didn't play well. Strome, as much as I want to say it's a factor, it is. I don't really. I'm
curious to see what happens. I'm curious to go turn on like the pregame and see who's skating around. I haven't seen if there's any.
But you know what? Here's my thing. If they lose tonight, I'll be nervous, and then I'll regain confidence because we're back in the Garden. But boy, I mean, this is real. This is like you had a chance in Game 3 when you didn't play well. And frankly, I see Tampa Bay, the state, and Florida, the state it is, with a Sunday afternoon game. I think they get more reach from a fan base on an afternoon game than they would a weeknight.
Games don't bring juice to the arena.
But I think it's hot. Games. They want to do something weeknight in Tampa. It seems weaker. It just seems weaker.
That's because you're
not. It's not like New York, though.
Yeah, but people go out and have a bunch of cocktails, and that's when they're loud. You know.
Well, what's sad is that
you get a more sedate crowd typically.
What's sad is that it was a 2-0 lead as well, but. Look, they just gotta lock it down tonight. Put in your rearview mirror. You want to see yourselves, and yes, if you win the Prince of Wales Trophy, you're touching it this time. Trust me, you're not touching it like you did last time. I know you don't believe in superstitions. I very much do believe, but
where's your Aunt Caroline?
You got it. They've got to picture that. Use that as motivation. You want to be skating on. So I tell you, the Garden will be as loud as they've ever heard before if they are up 3-1.
It's going to be great. So let's get to it. What's your prediction?
I thought the Rangers were going to win game. Of course I thought they were going to win, but I knew Tampa was going to come out with something. I don't think Tampa can play a better game than they did on Sunday. I really don't think so because 52 shots on net. They only got 3 goals. They got gifted a couple power plays. Igor wants that one power play goal back. I'm not going to blame him. He wants that one power play goal back. I think although they won, they might be. I thought they felt a little exhausted and frustrated after that game. So I think the Rangers got to just just jump on them. The kid line's got to be a little bit more of a presence, and so does the Zibanejad line than they were in game 3.
Someone's got to be a hero tonight. I think the
And
Rangers win
Vasilevsky's not
4-2.
unbeatable. He's
No,
not unbeatable.
He was the last 2 years. He's not this series, but because I want to watch the pregame. What's your score?
It's so hard to read. I think the Rangers win tonight. I just don't know if it's gonna be low scoring or high scoring. I say 4-2, and they're trailing 2-1 in the game, and they come back and win 4-2. Empty net goal.
I was
Empty
going to
net
say
goal.
4-2, and they get off to a 2-0 lead, and then we have this heart attack moment where they get back in the game and we're stressed, and then a fluke goal, and then an empty netter to finish them off. But
Well,
I'm
here's
looking
where
forward.
I want your honesty. I know we're about to wrap it up, but
Yeah.
with Colorado, everyone knows they're going to the Stanley Cup
If
final.
you're superstitious, you can't be talking about Colorado already.
No, Tampa, Colorado, Rangers, Colorado. It's whoever plays Colorado. Congrats, whatever to them. They
Yeah.
made the Stanley Cup final.
They look unreal.
Here's my thing. It's just
save the Colorado thing before we know who's playing.
Mike Smith, the starting goalie for Edmonton, is 40 or 41 years old. Awful.
What are you saying?
I'm sorry. He had a good. George, you're a better goalie than he is.
No, that's not true.
And if you look at Colorado, I know we're about to wrap it up, but if you look at the goalies they played against Mike Smith and Koskinen, who are not good. Trust me, if Georgiev was in there, the series would still be going
the
on.
Rangers haven't played a goalie. Colorado has got a lot of confidence rolling, and they are so fast, so you got to be careful that they don't jump on top of you early. Shesterkin is a big difference. Yes, it's a step up in class, or Vasilevsky would be a step up in class.
They played multiple backups against Nashville in round 1 and swept them. Remember, UC Saros is a Vezina candidate trophy. He's a Vezina candidate basically every year, whether he makes it or not. He's a great goalie. They didn't face him. Jordan Binnington missed half of that series that they played in round 2. So they haven't played. Yes, we haven't played a legitimate goaltender, but we are right now, and we're up 2-1 in the series. Well, they haven't. And I think whoever comes out of the East wins because they're not going to score. You're not scoring 5 goals on Vasilevsky and Shesterkin. Trust me, you're not. And the Rangers and Lightning are both better defensive teams than Colorado is. So they only got to compete with the offense. And you really only have to take out McKinnon. One cross-check to the face, Trouba will take a suspension for the rest of the playoffs. Remove him from the series, and they are done. Him and McCarr, that's what they live off of. So I don't see a way that Tampa or the Rangers don't win the Cup this year. I don't see a way that neither one of those two don't win the Cup.
Let's hope the Rangers win tonight. We both got 4-2, different scenarios.
I'll feel so much elation if they win tonight. I think I'll be a little overconfident. But look, like even if they lost Game 5 and it's 3-2, I'm so confident. I got my garden at home looking in the background. Game 7, so they.
No, I know, but let's win tonight.
This is a big game, though.
The anxiety,
100% huge game. But
all right, till next time. Let's see if we're right, Matty. Let's see. But it's been a good.
Hopefully, next time we're Eastern Conference champions. Next time we introduce 37.
Let's hope. All right, have a good night. Good luck. Off we go. Love you, buddy.
Love you too. See you guys.
Yeah.